Hi guys, Dave here and welcome back to the channel. Today's video I wanted to go through how much I spend on Pokemon. Let's go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is basically use the percentages that my wife and I use for our own income. Can't quite show you exactly how much we take home and what we spend. I think I'll get a lot of trouble from her and I don't really want to do that. But what I can do is basically split out an example of a household's take home pay and just effectively go through what we spend, how we spend it, and where that fits in with Pokemon. So let's go. Alright then, so before I go any further, I should probably make it clear that I'm not an expert. My day job, I do work in finance, that is my career, but I'm not an expert. This is solely for entertainment purposes, you know. Please don't feel like if you do the exact same things that my wife and I do, it's going to work for you. This just suits our lifestyle and what we earn and then what we spend our money on. Okay, so in this example, I'm using a 5k take home pay for a household, so I say not for one individual, and fair play if you do that, you know, but say for an average household, £5,000 is what I'm using. And I've also stuck in a conversion rate for those of you who are in the US, just to make it a little bit more realistic. So Laura and I, our fixed costs broadly take up about 40% of our take home pay. So that covers our car, phone and mortgage. We actually have two cars. One's almost fully paid off and one we still have on finance. One of us has got a phone bill still, the other one's fully paid off. And then we have a mortgage that we pay between us. So that does cover about 40% of our costs. So in this example, if we took home £5,000 a month, £2,000 of that is covering pretty much all of that. I should also note that that does include things like utility bills, the majority of council tax is on there, all the other kind of bills that come with owning a home basically. Next up, we then go through our savings. So we always make sure that we always put aside 30% of our take home pay, whatever that may be, on a monthly basis. So Laura, for instance, does vary from month to month. She has a commission based salary, and so you know it will fluctuate on the actual figure, but the percentage we always try and keep the same. So whatever happens, 30% we're putting away. We then have 50% that we use for investing. Me personally, my money, some of it goes into Pokemon and the rest of it goes into stocks and shares. They're the two things that I like to invest in really. And for my other half, she will either put it all in stocks and shares, or it might be, it's not quite investing, it might be, but maybe paying off, you know, a student loan or putting a bit more on her pension or something like that with her money, something, you know, outside of just putting cash straight into the bank, you know, something a bit more exciting. Moving on to variable costs. So again, 15%, it does vary, you know, the figures in particular, because like I said, my other half's pay does vary from time to time, but again, it does equate to roughly 15% of our total take home pay. This will cover things like food and general living, you know, having a good time, meals out, takeaways, going to bars, that kind of thing, you know, cinema, all that kind of stuff. So what I now want to do is basically show what I've spent in 2020, and I'm trying to make this as clear as I possibly can and as truthful as I possibly can. You know, it's years of data I'm literally putting in a tiny table, so it's not quite exact, but it's a pretty good estimate. I'm not including anything where I've sold items which I've then gained a lot of capital from and then spent that on Pokemon, just because it will distort this if you're thinking of coming into Pokemon and, you know, looking from a clean slate perspective really. So what I'm going to show you is effectively what you would expect to maybe spend on Pokemon if you were to do what we do and live like this very rigid schedule or percentages. It's just how we are. It's just what we do. Doesn't mean it's right either. Looking at 2020, this is what I broadly spent on Pokemon straight from my salary. So this doesn't include, again, like I said before, me selling items to then make money to then put back into Pokemon. That is everything I do. You know, everything I make from Pokemon goes straight back into it because I am a collector as well as an investor. Yeah, so for example, you know, I sold quite a lot of PSA cards last year, made quite a lot of money from it. Did put a lot of that back into Pokemon again, but I don't want to include it on this list just because this is what I truthfully broadly spent on Pokemon straight from earnings that I made in the year. So you can see here from a sealed product perspective, I spent just under 4k in a year. You know, that's going to be on, for these 4 sets in particular, these 4 sets, I've effectively bought, these 5 sets, tell a lie, sorry. These 5 sets, for instance, I buy 7 booster boxes, and then I buy triple blisters, which you can see behind me here. Ooh, there you go there. Champions Path being a holiday set, just like Hidden Fates, it's just down to what I can get hold of, you know, whether it be a case of ETBs or a case of tins or something like that. Moving on to graded cards, so I spent about £1,100 on PSA cards that I didn't sell, and you know, I just kept for me, for my collection. And then finally, opened products. So this is stuff where, you know, a bit like before, a sealed product, but I've then opened it up and then, you know, done videos from it or whatever, you know, whatever I want with it really. So you can get a good idea of what I spent really. If we then go back to, you know, this example that I've put on the screen, and you were to annualize everything that you earn in a month, it really is interesting what you can do in a year. And this is why I do this. So I personally find this really quite useful, particularly for somebody who's looking to come into Pokemon now and is a little bit, you know, it is really expensive, you know, just how far can I go? Can I still make money from this? Can I still reach my collecting goals? It is difficult, I grant you, particularly if you've never done it before and you don't have a catalogue of sealed product or graded cards or collections that already hold value. But if we just take this example, you know, throughout a year, if your take home pay is 60 grand in your household, using our percentages, you know, to save 18 grand in a year, sick. That's just really good. No, 30% of your take home pay you're putting into the bank. That's insane. You know, that's really good. Again, you know, you have 9 grand potentially to spend on Pokemon if you want to, 15% of your income. And while I agree, you know, $750 a month doesn't go very far in Pokemon. You know, if you're really dedicated and you really love this hobby and you really want to get involved, $750 is an awful lot in a month. You know, that can get you 6-7 booster boxes of a set. It can get you quite a few nice credit cards. You could probably buy a completed set if that's how you want to do it, you know. Yeah, I mean, take that from a year perspective, 9 grand on Pokemon. Again, probably more for modern stuff. You're not going to get much with 9 grand on vintage. Maybe a box if you're lucky, if you find one. From our perspective, this is what I do. Sorry, this is what we do with our money. And I just wanted to do something a little bit different. I don't see this on YouTube often. I don't think anyone's done this sort of video on YouTube before. But for me, I wanted to be as truthful as I possibly can on what we do. You know, share just how much I spent on Pokemon straight from my salary, you know, without selling anything that I currently own to fund that, and just how much you can potentially collect or own or invest in a 12-month period, really. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I love making these kind of videos. You know, they're not just pack openings. And if you did enjoy this, please, you know, give the video a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. It'll go an awful long way for this channel and for me to make this kind of content again. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Really do appreciate it, and see ya.